Despite what the more artsy and selective anime fan may tell you, creating a battle shonen is an art form. Choreographing a fight in animation and on paper is a testament to the refined skills of talented artists, and just getting someone invested into the meaning and storytelling of who'll win and who'll lose takes great writing. Some of the industry's best moments involve over-the-top fight scenes, such as the yelly moments of Dragon Ball and the absolute destructive spectacle that is Akira. However, today's list will be looking at the fights of a series known a little bit more for its adventure. That series is Eiichiro Oda's One Piece, Shounen Jump's lead series that has managed to captivate its fans through detailed world building and consistent character work. Unlike its contemporaries, a lot of the One Piece story doesn't focus on fights, but that doesn't mean that they're not interesting in one way or another, as the series adds its own characteristic eccentricity to an anime trope that many may have thought was one and done. This list will be running down the top 10 fights within the series. Some of them have earned their spot for pure spectacle. Others for story importance. And there's that grand few that are here just for their ridiculousness and intrigue. Luffy vs Crocodile. Crocodile, the first warlord of the seas to ever defeat Monkey D. Luffy. Crocodile's devil fruit allowed him to become sand, which is basically the reason Luffy used to struggle so much against him even after many encounters. The One Piece fight scene where Luffy lands his first ever blow on Crocodile on his smug face was something everyone wanted to see. In this One Piece fight, we see some out of the ordinary ways to hit a Logia user without using haki. Luffy managed to do that by putting his own blood on his fist. But with some persistence, creativity, and desire, Luffy managed to pull it off. He defeats the Sandman. Luffy said, "I don't care who you are. I am going to surpass you." The way he did that was stunningly well. At one instance he just pulled some oxygen in, made himself look like Cell, when he was about to explode, and just blew that oxygen out to fly and attack Crocodile with his new technique, Gomu Gomu no Storm. The reason this fight is on this list is not only because it is one of the best One Piece fights ever, but also because it was something for which fans had to wait eagerly for quite some to finally see it happening, to finally see Luffy beating the sand out of the Sandman. Ace vs Blackbeard. This fight is the best fight in One Piece when we talk about Blackbeard or Ace. It packed a lot of punch in such a short duration. If it was any other opponent, Ace's flames might have worked, but the foe he had to deal with was Blackbeard, who has got a devil fruit even more terrifying than Whitebeard, aka the strongest man himself. In a fierce battle between fire and darkness, who do you think will win? The answer is obvious as is darkness. Be it the sun or darkness, there can only be one winner, whoever is stronger will always win. It was during this One Piece fight that we saw One Piece's ultimate villain's emergence. The fight was so intense that even the surrounding area started to fall apart. The destruction was unlike anything the locals had ever seen. They even said that this can't be the doing of a human. The moment the sun made by Ace and Blackbeard's darkness collided, it resulted in a massive impact on the island. That scene is hailed as one of the best One Piece fight scenes. This fight was remembered as a trigger for a major event that was about to unfold. Zoro vs Kaku. To think that the swordsman of the Straw Hat crew taking on a giant giraffe would turn out to be one of the best fights in One Piece. This One Piece fight was happening at the same time as when Luffy and Lucci were taking each other on in an epic brawl next door. The CP9 second deadliest assassin managed to push Zoro to the edge regardless of his ridiculous-looking form until he makes the terrible mistake of talking crap about Robin. It was the same for Luffy, wasn't it? Nobody disrespects one of my friends, as Kaku's mouth had crossed the line. He now had to pay for what he had just said. The scene where Zoro uses the nine-sword style Asura to make his way through all of Kaku's attacks is regarded as one of Zoro's legendary moments. The fight didn't take much time after Zoro had unleashed everything he had. Kaku loses and Zoro tells him that he's got a message from Galila leader which states that the assassins are all fired. After Zoro suggests Kaku to join a zoo, Kaku even hands him the key before passing out. Assassin or not, even giraffes have a heart. Sanji vs Jabra. This One Piece fight ended up becoming Sanji's ultimate and most known moment. The leg of the devil, Diable Hambi. A heated-up leg, hitting with high speed. We have often heard the phrase, kick some ass, and this fight scene embodies the true meaning of that phrase. Imagine getting kicked by a leg that looks and feels like lava, and not just once, getting kicked likes that again and again and again. In order to take out the CP9 martial arts expert Jabra, whose devil fruit allows him to transform into a wolf, a bunch of heated kicks was all Sanji needed. Once Sanji gets going, he doesn't stop, not until he had sent Jabra crashing through Eni's lobby. Throughout the kicks, all we see of Jabra is him feeling those hot kicks and his struggles to bear the enormous pain inflicted by those not-so-cool kicks. The awesome display of fiery footwork by Sanji makes this fight one of the best fights in One Piece. In a sentence we can say that Sanji kicked the living daylights out of Jabra, or should we say, he burnt the living daylights out of Jabra. Or perhaps both? Zoro vs Daz Bones, a katana follows will. All that's left, is to see if I truly have the power to cut steel. This fight is the best fight in One Piece when it comes to Zoro, as it is one of the most fundamental character-defining moments in the entire One Piece series. There are only a few of them. In this encounter, we witness Zoro's struggle to somehow make himself push beyond the limits of what a normal swordsman is capable of. And that's exactly what makes this One Piece fight Zoro's hardest-fought battle to this day. After losing so much blood and strength, Zoro was almost on the brink of death, but it's on the brink of death that he finds his answer. Zoro beat Mr. One using only one sword. By going face to face with death and himself, he achieves a very enlightened sense of the world around him, and as a result, he achieves the ability to cut through steel. The fight scene where it only takes Zoro a single slash to cut his opponent down is Zoro's most legendary moment. When Mr. One asked Zoro if he was planning to cut down diamonds next, he simply replied that it would be just a waste. Which made it clear, Zoro now has the strength needed to cut down whatever he wants and however he wants. Luffy vs Enel. The Guro Guro no Mi, which allows the user to manipulate and transform into electricity. Just how in the world was Luffy supposed to face its user Enel? Luckily, we studied back in middle school that rubber doesn't conduct electricity, and rubber is what Luffy's made up of. Thus Luffy had a major advantage throughout this One Piece fight. Sounds simple, but it wasn't. Not only could Enel become electricity, but he could also travel at that speed, which is about 220 million miles per hour. So that's nothing to sneeze at. The fight starts with Enel actually panicking for a change as he sees Luffy clear the sky from all the lightning he had just created. The scene where Luffy lands the first blow on Enel can also be hailed as the instance where Enel got hit for the first time ever. Luffy eventually smashes him into the bell and ends up creating a sound that could even reach the earth from the sky. This is clearly one of the best fights in One Piece. Although, it was still a little sad to see that rubber was all it took to beat such an overpowered character like Enel. However, it also made it clear just how much though has Oda put into choosing the main character's devil fruit. Skypia was one of a hell arc. All the revelations during the arc gave goosebumps to all of us. One of the best moment is when Luffy beat Enel and ring the golden bell to prove that the Sky Islands do exists. What an amazing moment filled with a lot of feelings. Let them hear it. Awesome. Can you hear it? The City of Gold is here. For 400 years, the City of Gold has been in the sky. Mont Blanc Noland was right and the truth has been restored. Whitebeard vs Akainu. If it weren't for Luffy going beyond his limits every time, this fight might have been on top. There were many shocking moments and revelations during the war at Marineford, but none of them were more heartbreaking than the death of Portgas d'Ace by the hands of the Admiral Akainu. Losing Ace left a void in Whitebeard's heart as he deeply regarded Ace as his own son. He had nothing else on his mind than to make the Admiral pay for what he had just did. What happens next makes this fight one of the best fights in One Piece. Whitebeard lashes out with his righteous fury as he charges straight ahead onto the Admiral. Even if his body has been pushed to the limit and there are some major wounds and holes in it, Whitebeard continues to keep pushing himself, which results in Akainu getting absolutely wrecked. The scene where Whitebeard serves the Admiral with a chop on the left side of his stomach was gruesome indeed, and it would have definitely made the Admiral realize what a terrible mistake he had done by taking Ace's life. From start to finish, the fight only lasted a few minutes. Yes, a few minutes is all it took to beat the living daylights out of a proud Admiral. When the strongest man in the world becomes furious, things are about to take a major shift. Luffy vs Doflamingo. Let's get one thing clear, Doflamingo is the best villain in One Piece. It is incredible just how much has Oda developed this villain. At some instances he was even seen as someone invincible. Doflamingo as one nasty dude with a nasty devil fruit that allows him to manipulate strings. The amount of applications his devil fruit abilities have is ridiculously enormous. He is a former warlord, the king of the underworld, and someone who likes to use bloody means to get whatever he wants. Trafalgar Law and Luffy participated together in this epic One Piece fight. The fight ends up becoming one of the best fights in One Piece. Luffy's battle against Doflamingo is an important matter that is still being discussed among fans. Just when did Luffy get strong enough to beat Doflamingo? Was Gear 4th all it took to defeat the best-regarded villain of One Piece? The reason why Doflamingo is the best villain isn't because he is one of the strongest. There is a lot more to an antagonist than raw strength. Doflamingo's cunningness and bloodlust, as well as his unusual personality, are the key components that make him the best villain in One Piece. Of course, there was a lot more that met our eye than just the Gear 4. Like how the Conqueror's haki of both of them collided. As well as the help Luffy got from Trafalgar Law during that fight, because he could have never managed to defeat someone who commands strings that are as strong as swords by himself. The final blow which settled the fight is one of the legendary One Piece fight scenes. The moment the world government and Admiral Akainu heard the news of Monkey D. Luffy defeating the warlord Doflamingo was a complete shock to them. It totally catches them off guard. The news spreads like wildfire, and just like that, the whole world knew of Doflamingo's defeat. The defeat of the king of the underworld disrupts all the deals and connections he had made with several other folks. It had a major impact on the whole world. Luffy vs Lucci. During a long time, this fight wore the crown of the best fight in One Piece. The ultimate assassin Rob Lucci was the only obstacle that Luffy had to overcome in order to save the life of his friend Robin. Lucci's objective was to eliminate the very person who Luffy had to save, and that's what led to this clash between two individuals having polar opposite desires. The One Piece fight scene where Lucci smashed Luffy's internal organs to pieces felt like Rob Lucci was the most dominant one during the fight. He had sent some insane vibrations into Luffy's body and was absolutely certain of his victory. But Luffy had sworn not sink to the ground until he had defeated Lucci. Luffy stood again without having touched the ground, and the sight of that made Lucci infuriated. After withstanding the destruction of his internal organs, Luffy let loose a barrage of punches that pretty much took out 8 of 9 Lucci's lives. This One Piece fight was an insane display of sheer willpower by Luffy, and that's exactly what led to Luffy's emerging victory in this ridiculous battle against death. Throughout the fight, it appeared that Robin's words, "I want to live," were the driving force behind Luffy's epic outrage. As Luffy was going up against Lucci, Zoro was facing Kaku at the same time. Luffy vs Katakuri. A lot of fights like Goku vs Frieza, Naruto vs Pain, All Might vs All for One etc. have been hailed as the greatest of all times. And when it comes to One Piece, the 21 episodes long battle between Luffy and Katakuri is the best fight in One Piece yet. Not only was this One Piece fight drawn out just right, the mental and physical battle between a perfect individual and an aspiring pirate king is also the legendary One Piece fight scene that embodies the moment where Luffy has gone beyond his limits more so than ever before. At their encounter, Luffy entered the battlefield as a complete and utter wreck. Many fans said that there was no way for Luffy to even bear any more blows, let alone actually defeat Katakuri. Well, that's exactly what makes this fight the best One Piece fight ever, as it was not fought on the basis of strength alone. Luffy reveals his new form, Gear 4 Snakeman. There were a lot of other merits to this fight for both Luffy and Katakuri. Before this encounter, Katakuri had always believed that Luffy was inferior to him in every way. He didn't have much respect for him and only saw him as a threat to his family that must be eliminated. Which is to be expected, as Katakuri displays strong affection to his family. So how did Luffy emerge victorious in this impossible battle against the rumored perfect individual? Indeed, Luffy was completely outclassed in terms of raw strength, speed, and overall battle experience. Katakuri possessed 2 highly evolved forms of haki. Not only that, but Katakuri also had Conqueror's haki, so Luffy didn't even have any advantage when it came to that, as well as the fact that Katakuri's devil fruit allowed him the ability to mimic all of Luffy's stunts and perform them even better. So was it the plot armor that made Katakuri resign the best fight in One Piece, or was there more to it? How did Luffy defeat him? It wasn't because he physically overpowered Katakuri. What happened is far more impressive than simply defeating your opponent. Luffy influenced Katakuri at a deeper emotional level, which even led to Katakuri finally starting to see Luffy as an equal and even give him some respect. This One Piece fight scene also revealed Katakuri's true personality that had remained hidden for who knows how long. Katakuri no longer saw Luffy as an enemy or a threat to his family. He realized that there is no point in prolonging this fight any further, and just like that, the epic battle of 21 episodes finally ended, proving that Luffy vs Katakuri is the best One Piece fight scene. Luffy and Katakuri departed ways with enormous respect for each other.